Next game on our list here is Pioneer Days.
Designed by Matthew Dunstan and Chris Marling. The artist is Guille Longhini and Sergi Marcet, and it's published by Tasty Minstrel Games.
Yep. This is a game called Oregon Trail, the dice game.
Pretty much.
Yeah, right? All right, so before you turn off the episode or fast forward, let's just start by saying it's worth listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Pioneer Days, there's a lot of rules, but we're not going to go over everything, but essentially, you're going to see this bag of dice. There's 5 different colored dice, and you're going to put in a set, which is one of each color, per player, plus 1 set. And then you're going to basically play a number of days, so you would draw 5 dice out of the bag, roll them, and then each person's going to draft dice. You draw as many players plus 1. Mm-hmm. So, if there's 3 players, you're going to draw 4 dice, roll them, or 4 players, you're going to draw 5 dice. That's why I said 5 dice. And you're going to draft them, and then at the end of the round, whenever there's only 1 die left, it's going to raise this disaster track, and it's color-coded. If the black die is left, it's going to raise all 4 of the disaster tracks. When it reaches the end, it's only like 4 spaces, I think, each. When they reach the end, something bad's going to happen, like you have to pay for your cattle, or you have to lose, if you have wagons and stuff, they might get damaged and give you negative victory points. And it also takes up slots that you can put stuff on them. Mm-hmm. And then you would reset it back to 0 and keep going, and you would play. So these disasters can happen multiple times throughout the game. When you're drafting a die on your turn, you simply just pick one up. There's 6 sides, so there's 6 different faces, and you can do one of 3 things. One, you can turn it in for money, and it's essentially $1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or $6. You can buy a card, so there's in the main player on the main board in the middle of the table. It's going to show you the value. It's going to show you what action you can take, and it's going to show you a character card underneath of it that's placed out there for the beginning of the week. You're going to play I think you're going to play 4 weeks, and that doesn't matter on the player count. But anyway, when you draft a die, you're going to either turn it in for money, you're going to do the action of the symbol it shows, or you're going to buy the card that's associated with the symbol right underneath of it on the table. And those cards are going to give you like special abilities. Sometimes it's like instant things like just gather these resources now, but they all have a in-game scoring VP. So it might be like you get +1 points for every medicine that you have or whatever. So you might want to get them because they give you in-game scoring. But one of the disasters is you have to spend medicine for each guy if the is it epidemic or starvation or whatever it is. I don't remember what it's called.
No, it wouldn't be starvation because
it's medicine. Yeah, so probably right. Epidemic. So that can happen and kill off your guys if you don't have enough medicine to give to each one of your guys. So there's a reason to kind of mitigate what you have. You can't, if you get a lot of one thing, it might be bad, right? So anyway, you'll play until the end of a week. At the end of the week, you kind of enter town, and town will say you can give up these resources to get like these favor tokens. And the favor tokens give you 2 VPs a piece, and whoever has the most at the end of the game actually gets a bonus 5 VP. Then you're going to reset the bag, do it all over again. You play it for 4 weeks. Whoever has the most money is the winner. Most of your money is going to come from the character cards that you draft from the dice and spinning the dice to get them. Oh, I forgot about the actions. I should probably mention those because those are pretty important. And then we'll talk about what we think. So there's like there's like these equipment tiles that you can buy. They go into the slots on your caravan or wagons or whatever. You can expand your wagons, by the way, by spending money. That's a free action. You can get wood. You can get medicine.
Dig for gold.
You can dig for gold. So there's a bag of gold off to the side, which has values 1, 2, or 3. Those are placed face down in a slot, so you don't know who's got how much gold at the end of the game. That's extra points. There's a Joker icon, which allows you to do any of the actions, but if you turn it in for money, it's only worth 1. You can still buy the card that's there, which is randomly placed. And that's the other thing is the cards. There's actually 5 sets of cards, and you only use 2 sets in any combination. So there's set A, B, C, D, and E. You can play with A and E or C and D, and they all have like their unique kind of
meshing,
stuff on it. So anyway, if there's anything else, we'll talk about it as we talk about the game. I'm going to start and go ahead and say this is phenomenal component-wise. I mean, everything is super thick. Super good quality. It's like fun art and all that stuff. It's good to see Wild West games regardless. Not that it's Wild West, but you know what I'm saying, like the Old West.
Right. Like the pioneer days.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it does say on the back of the box, it's pretty much Oregon Trail, the dice game, and I think it kind of is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they could have just rethemed the Oregon Trail, and that would have been fine. I guess, for whatever reason, they didn't want to tap that name on there. I know Oregon Trail, the card game, wasn't really good.
It's awful.
Stay away from that.
So,
yeah,
that's why.
This is obviously better than Oregon Trail, the card game. And I think that, I don't know if it's a licensing thing, but it's cool that they did like their own artwork and theme, even though it's, you know, just because it's Oregon Trail doesn't mean you have to default to using the whole Oregon Trail theme or like, actual what happened. But
I liked Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The computer game?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the computer game's okay.
Oh, it was awesome.
Oh, back in the day, man. That was
back in the day.
Have you played it now?
Now, I don't know.
Computer time, man.
Oh, yeah. I know. But I'm saying, like, relative to the time frame, yes, it was fun. But so was like, well, some of the games on Nintendo are still good too.
Yeah, you see.
Well, anyway, so I don't know. What was your favorite part of this, Matt?
You know, you get to roll the dice, and I like drafting. You're essentially drafting these dice, and then on top of that, you get your die, and you have 3 decisions to make with that.
Yeah.
One thing you just picked. If you want to get the money from it, do the action for it, or buy a person. I did write down playability. You already mentioned all the different card sets and everything. Another thing with the drafting dice is the last one that is left will move whatever. I think it was Calamity is what they called them.
Well, I was told it was Calamity, but it actually just calls it Disaster.
Oh, they just call them Disaster.
They should have called it Calamity.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
That's straight Wild West or Old West terminology right there.
So you got this weird kind of camaraderie going on. Like, okay, you know, let's try and leave this die because it's going on here, but then sometimes you might purposely leave it because you see that it'll hurt everyone else more than what it'll hurt you.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And then again with the dice drafting, I never would have thought hate drafting would have happened, Eric.
Oh yeah.
But
so I was going to mention that too. There is a decent amount of hate drafting, you know, because there is equipment cards or equipment tiles that you can get that make certain dice or certain facings a bonus for you. You know, you might get 2 or 3 things, or you might build it up to. So other players know that, and they're going to hate draft you and make sure it doesn't help them as much, but it really would benefit you. So
yeah, because it's going to trigger maybe 3 other equipment tiles if you drafted like the mining pick for some reason,
right?
Because the mining pick just allows you to draw out of the bag to get gold.
Yeah,
but then maybe you have like 3 equipment, and it triggers off the mining pick for each one. It allows you to get another thing of gold, or it allows you to draw or get $2 or whatever they are, or get a piece of wood, which you need wood for the disaster because it'll damage your different wagons, and you have to spend 1 wood per wagon.
Or you can have a character card that says you get 1 VP or 2 VP per wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's true too, yeah, because your in-game scoring thing. So, I don't know. I think that maybe the disasters could have been a little bit more harsh.
Oh, actually, that's one of the things that I was going to say I kind of liked about it, because in a lot of games, these disasters might be really punishing.
Oh,
I felt on this game, they were punishing enough, but they weren't overly burdensome. So
I guess it is worth mentioning they happen multiple times throughout the game. So if they were harsher, it would be
too much.
It would almost be too much. Yeah.
I actually wrote that down. And another thing going with it, with them not being so punishing, if it does punish you, it's kind of at your own fault because you see it coming.
Oh yeah,
you got
true.
Plenty of rounds to prepare for it because they do kind of stagger, so one's going to hit before the other, and sometimes it just comes down to, I don't care. This guy wasn't going to score me any points anyway, so I'll just give him up and save my medicine. So I mean, you do kind of have choices you can make at that time. I don't think you want your wagon getting tore up because that gives you minus points, and
less space.
Yeah, and less space. So I was fine with the way they said it.
That's
fair.
As
far as disasters.
No, that's fair. I didn't think of it like that. But yeah, you're right. Every other game kind of hammers you into the ground when a disaster or something happens or an event. And this game's kind of like some light punishment, but constant.
Here's a couple of smacks.
Right.
Smack. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. The only I did mention that the component quality is amazing, although there is one problem with it. The 4 wagons for the scoring the colors are basically brown, dark brown, lighter
brown.
Oh yeah.
tan.
Yes.
I see why they did that. They didn't want to like get them to a close color as the dice. You know, you might get confused, I guess.
That's true, but I mean,
they could make them like purple and, you know, other colors, black.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they used every shade of brown
you can't
possible.
use
Like
Yeah.
on the whole game, but
I guess maybe they could have gave you an identical one or something to indicate what color you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was times you're kind of like, what color brown are you, Eric?
Oh, right. Because even scoring you is moving the score track, and you get, you know, instead of giving me points, you gave another color brown a point.
Yeah.
Right.
So that did happen. Yeah, that was very bad.
no, I'm the coffee wagon,
The coffee.
not the tan one.
Not tan. I'm darker tan.
Or the khaki. I'm not the khaki.
Yeah, I saw that kind of being that was an annoyance, but it's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I saw was I felt like the equip action might be the go-to. I don't know if that's kind of like a first play type thing, but I feel like those equipment tiles are awesome.
Yes.
They are very nice, yeah.
Because they trigger, I mean, they basically give you free actions.
But then you get hate drafted, so it kind of evens it out.
You get hate drafted. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can't do. I mean, the first player does move on its own, so eventually you're going to be able to draft stuff normally.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're really only going to hate drafted if you're kind of last. Third player is probably bad too, but I mean, at third player, you still have 3 dice to choose from.
And sometimes you don't always get hate drafted because, you know, the prior players do have their own things that they need to gather.
Yeah.
So sometimes they can't be the one that hate drafts you. They have to look out for themselves.
What did you think about the special powers? We chose to play it with that, so that's a pretty
I
cool.
liked it a lot. I always liked variable player powers. You know, you're a little bit different than everybody else, so.
Yeah.
Nothing seemed broke.
Nah, I
From
don't
what we
think
did,
so.
It was all kind of.
I think mine was desirable, but maybe more of like an easier to use thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where basically, if you draft a die, you can pay $3 to switch it to any face. The only problem with doing that is it doesn't activate your equipment things if you do it that way. You have to draft the die naturally, basically. But mine allowed you to spend $1 to pick the things to the left or right. So basically, every die became 3 options for me, but 2 of those options would cost me $1.
Mm-hmm.
And like, for instance, on the board, if I want to change a 3 to a 4 or a 3 to a 2, I can. Or if I had a 6 and I wanted to make it like a 2, I would have paid $3 because it's not adjacent. So I thought that was a pretty useful ability.
Yeah.
I mean, I still didn't win, so it's obviously not broke.
No.
I think Matt won by
Yeah, Matt won by tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
Yeah,
One coin.
1 coin.
But yeah, I don't know. Final thoughts. I really enjoyed this. I was pleasantly surprised on how good it was, even though it just looks appealing in the first place.
Right. It kind of has a weird Dice Town feel to it. I know you're kind of doing the actions differently.
Yeah.
But kind of like how it's got the town layout, and you can, other than you rolling to try and get what action you want to take, you're drafting. But I might pick this up for the kids. I think it'd be something they enjoy.
Yeah.
It's kind of light. It's not too over, too deep and heavy for them. So I think it'd be something they'd enjoy.
Oh yeah, and actually, you know what? Other than the words, there's really not anything else to it that's difficult. Like the cards that you can draft.
Right.
They could have put icons instead. +1 wood icon. I mean, whatever. That's asking for too much. What do you think, Eric?
No, I liked it a lot. Kudos to TMG for coming out with a lot of good games lately. So
I was gonna say that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I agree. TMG has been knocking it out the park. I mean, Jiraku. I'm excited about that. I mean, man, that's such a good game. I don't know if y'all guys like it as much as I do, but
oh yeah, definitely a good game. Small footprint.
Orleans. I mean, they got some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff. All right, anything else? All right, if you haven't checked out Pioneer Days, I highly recommend it. I don't remember if I said it or not, but we did receive this one as a review copy.
Don't think you did on this one.
Yeah.
You did the other two.
It never changes my mind. It just allows us to do this a lot easier. So, the one thing I will say is the rule book, even though it was written in a short way, there was a couple of things I missed because the way they've laid it out, I don't know. Like, what was it? The way the first player marker passes?
Yeah, we couldn't figure out if it even moved.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was marked on there. It was like the 4-step right in the corner.
It was, but I'm saying it wasn't very in your face. Like, this is how something happens. I'm blind, obviously.
Nah, I think you were blind at that point because it was like number 4.
I mean, Eric did take the rule book and find it almost immediately
within like 2 seconds.
We've never seen the rule book before, so that's okay. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
and actually, me looking over his shoulder saw it too. So maybe
whatever.
Maybe just missed it.
All right, so maybe the only thing I'll say is maybe the special abilities and the timing of them could have been maybe outlined in the FAQ kind of thing, because it's like,
yes,
does my special ability happen before I draft a die, or when I draft a die, does it happen before I trigger my equipment tiles, or out? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it seems like you have to read the other cards to realize that it does or doesn't, because it mentions on the other ones,
right,
before you trigger, stuff like that. So, otherwise, overall, very, very good game. Small FAQ will fix anything that I have negative against it. So,
yeah,
awesome. That's Pioneer Days.